Right, hopefully we're in focus. Yes, we are. Right. Good afternoon. Well, good morning to some, good afternoon for others, and good evening for others, because you seem to have quite a good spread of people on Generalny. How are you, mate? Nice to have you on board. I think we've got Sean in, Mike, and Wenlock. So, as I say, I still haven't really managed to grasp this. It says there's only me and Mike in at the moment, but you know, obviously more than that. So welcome to my channel again for another live chat on a Sunday. Shoot, I'm hoping you can see me anyway. Missed last Sunday. Obviously, I was away at my partner's son's wedding. That really went from Friday late afternoon till Sunday late afternoon. Really, let's just plug the power in a minute. There we go. Hopefully there'll be no dropouts. Hi Mark, how are you, mate? Hopefully there'll be no dropouts this week. There were some problems with the internet the previous time. And, let's just straighten that up a little bit. That is hopefully sorted now. Basically, I was connected to the wrong Wi-Fi, so right at the end of the video, it dropped out quite badly. Hi Bill, Battery Maker, how are you? Morning to you. Morning to some, afternoon to others. Look. So yeah, I haven't really done much this week. What have I done? I polished the dial plate for the Shorrock. I got that all polished up and shiny. Managed to stick the Shorrock logo on it, and I used PVA on it, and basically it stuck perfectly until I let it dry in the sun, and then it decided it was going to lift itself off again. So I need some suggestions really on how to stick this to this plastic. PVA will stick it, but it's not very robust. It's lifting with a little bit of heat. So whether I just need to try a different PVA, I'm not really sure. But you know, the other consideration is the back of this is painted, so I can't put any sort of solvent on there that's likely to ruin the paint job on it, because we don't want to lose the paint. I've already had to touch it up a couple times. So yeah, any suggestions for glue on that would be appreciated. I thought about contact adhesive, but again, it is solvent based and it might lift that paintwork. So yeah, I might end up having to go back to PVA, but using maybe Gorilla Glue, something like that. So I did have a go at that. So it took me quite some time to polish it and also get it glued on, all to no avail really, which is a bit of a shame. Yeah, you can see me. I'm just looking at myself now. I had a new haircut look for the wedding. Yeah, I have got some contact adhesive, but do you think that might disturb the lettering on the back, like the paintwork? I've got contact adhesive here, but it's only, I suppose, there's trash in the place again. Yeah, I've got some contact adhesive there, which is exactly the same as like the brand leaders, probably Evo Stick, but this is the same stuff. Don't know what it says. Health and safety. Doesn't really say. It just says close fitting, clean, dry, and free from grease or dust. Yeah, that is risky, Bill, because if it goes terribly wrong, I try and get it off, it's going to peel all that lettering off. I think, I'm really not sure. I've got other glues here. I was thinking probably I've got some Gorilla Glue down there, not the foaming stuff, but the PVA version, so that might do it. What else have I done radio wise this week? I've done a few bits, but One of the things I did try and do with the Shorrock, let's just get back over here a minute, was I drew this in my 3D drawing program. It's quite a complex shape, that, and it's actually one of the holders for the ferrite rod, and this is the only surviving one. I've got 2 radios with 2 in each, and this is the only one that survives. So basically I've drawn this in the 3D printing program, changed the filament in my printer, and the 3D printer promptly jammed itself up solid. I've spent 2 days so far trying to unjam it, and I can sort of just about get some filament through it, but you've got to really heat the head up and take it off quick and shove the filament in manually to block it. Well, afternoon, Andrew and Gary. Nice to have you on board, Andrew. You made it this time, look. I did see you've released another video as well, Andrew, so I'll catch up with that one later on tonight, I expect. So anyone that doesn't know Andrew Ausfa, great channel, also mainly radio stuff and test equipment, but had some good tips off Andy, so welcome, Andrew. So yeah, really not done a lot more radio wise, I don't think. It's been a bit manic. My partner decided to lose her glasses the weekend, so we've been rushing around this week getting eye tests done and ordering glasses and that. Not a lot of radio stuff, but I have had quite a bit in the previous week, and I've had an arrival this week as well to show you. So where should we start? I've got quite a lot to get through. I didn't think I had a lot, but I have got quite a lot. And as usual, if anyone wants to deviate, any questions, just let me know. So what I'll do, I think, is I'll zoom in a little bit on the bench here so you can see a bit better, if I can. See if we can get you in down a bit without making you fall over. There we go. Looks like my light's in the way. Let's just rip that one out. That wasn't good planning, was it? Oh. Forgot the lid on top of it. Right, that's better. Strangely enough, some beer there. That's unusual, isn't it? Okay, what if I get you just there? That should be enough. Right. So what have I got today? Let's just make sure I'm in frame. Let's wait for that to catch up. I'll have a quick sit. Hi Cyberflyer, how are you? Just hoping that that's in shot. Just going to wait for my live feed to catch up. Well, it's Sunday afternoon, Andrew, isn't it? I mean, it'd be wrong not to have a quick beer. I'm on, what have I got today? I've got, not that I'm advertising, but proper job to start with. My good lady's just been down and bought me some, because I didn't have time. Good stuff, that is. Cornish. Quite strong, 5.5. I think it used to be stronger than that, actually, so I'm not sure what I've done there. Okay, so possibly I need to come up a fraction with the camera. Let's have a look. Probably about there. I might have to zoom out in a minute because I've got something quite big coming up. Well, a couple large radios actually. So this is one that I've had in this week for repair. I've got other repairs in at the moment, so I haven't done a lot with this one. Just literally fired it up just to see what's wrong with it. Really not that much wrong. Coffee. Yeah, not that much wrong with it, but it's not working properly on lower sideband. I checked it on 40 meters on the amateur bands. It worked to start with, and then it went really quiet and virtually off. So all the other bands seem to work, but it's the ICF-SW77 Sony. These are lovely, lovely radios, these. but what they do suffer from is the electrolytic capacitors in them. So little SMD things, they're notorious for leaking. So the owners basically sent it in for a recap. It's got some issues, but we're probably thinking the recap will sort most of them. The sync isn't working properly apparently, but I did get it to work. What I need to do is dig out one of my books and find out a band where there's some decent activity on the AM broadcast band, and then I can check the sync out properly. But this is in the queue for repair, so it's about third in line. They're not overly difficult to do. I've done one of these before. It's a bit scary getting the SMD caps out of it, but once you've done a couple of the caps, you get the hang of it. And I tried originally just lifting them off with a soldering iron, but that wasn't really very successful, just like walking them off. You basically got to grab them over with a pair of pliers and snap them off the board, which is pretty scary, but the board is more robust than the capacitor, so it does work. So that one's in for repair. I've got to order up the capacitors next week. Probably order them midweek, and I'll get on that within the next few weeks, I expect. So that's that one. I don't know if anyone else has done that. Was Tam, isn't it? Hi Tam, how are you? Yeah, I know that Clint has got that radio, Tam, so that was very nice of you to let him have that. I think you let him have it as a trial first, and then you let him keep it, didn't you? So that's very good of you. They are nice radios. I've done one of these before. This one works a little bit better. It's a bit better condition than the one I had in before. The other one, the jog wheel wasn't working very well, so it needed a new encoder really. But you just can't get spares for Sony stuff. I mean, there are people that have got some bits and pieces, but these older ones just seem impossible. Like, you can't get an aerial for them. You can't get a rotary encoder. In fact, you can't get hardly anything for it. So if there's anything broken, you've really got to get a donor radio, and these are very, very expensive. I think these particular ones over here in the UK usually go around about the £300 mark, so they are quite sought after radios. So let's put that one out of the way. And let's zoom out for this next one a bit, because it's a bit of a beast. If I can get it to zoom out, there we go. You might be able to see it there. Whoa, God, it might take my desk out actually. This one. Can you see that? God, no, I still need to zoom out more. Well, I think that'll do for a minute. Let's try zooming out a little bit more. That's full zoom now. Right, what is this then? And unfortunately, I can't see the chat now either. Let's just grab that out of here. I can see then what we're saying. Hopefully that isn't in the shot, is it? No. Okay. So, how many tubes? I can tell you it's a Ferranti 1037. And I mean, I've got a trader sheet here, which is dated 1945. I think it's earlier than that. I think it's something like 19. It says release date. It doesn't say. Oh, yes, it does. All 1937. So it's from 1937, this one. And this is very kindly given to me by Rob, one of my viewers and subscribers. He's not actually in here at the moment, I don't think. I think he's down in Cornwall on holiday at the moment, so he might be able to join us. But he brought this up for me. And this radio, he believes, was bought brand new by his dad. And he really was looking for a new home for it, and he came up and got a bit scared by my radio collection. It was a bit massive. Andrew might have seen one of these. So how many tubes you're asking, Bill, weren't you? Well, it's got a few. It's got four tubes. So 4 valve plus a rectifier, it says. So it's got 5 in total then, really, isn't it? Is it 5 or 4? I can only see 4 on the notes there. It says it's a 4 valve plus rectifier. Whether the rectifier is built into one of those tubes, I don't know. But we can get the back off if you want, Bill. Yeah, there's no problem, Bill. You know, no problem at all. Tell her anytime. Yeah, we could take the back off, I suppose, couldn't we, and have a quick look? I'm sure we've got time. I'll try not to go on for as long as I did the other week. That was quite a long session. So anyway, just a quick overview of the radio then. So one thing that is really interesting is it's a 3-band radio. I originally thought it might have been, I don't know if you can see that, might have been long wave, medium wave only, but it's actually got shortwave on it. And it spans 17 to 50 meters by the looks of it. So it's got a good range on it. I mean, look at that dial, it's amazing, isn't it? Look at that. Real sort of slow motion drive, that. Switch works now. That's the band selector. I'm not going to switch this on. I literally haven't had a look at this yet, and I'm certainly not going to mess with it without doing a bit of exploratory work first. Rob did turn it on and reckons that it doesn't, there's no sound coming out of it. Yeah, I should think they probably are, Sean. I did look at some pictures on the Radio Museum of the inside of this, and they're pretty big valves. I can tell you the valve lineup. It's a VHT4, which looks like is the oscillator valve. Then we've got V2, which is a VPT4. V3 is a PT4D, and V4 is an R4. So they're all valves. I mean, I've got a few valves knocking about here, but I've got nothing like that. And I know for a fact that I'm going to need to replace one of the valves, and we'll see that in a minute when I get in the back of the thing. Because Rob's dad had some problems with the valve cap, I think, and has had to do a modification to it. So, shall we open it up? Oh, God, it's heavy. Whee! So it's got, that's a 1037 all wave AC super het receiver. That's just got little pointers to where the valves are. Some lovely little what we call these little terminal pegs here, terminal pins for aerial, so some shortwave aerial, I should have thought. So what we've got here, we've got, looks like 4 screws, cable tie. Hopefully you can all see that. Yeah, you can. So let's grab a screwdriver and get that out a minute. Apologies for the shaky cam again as I bash it, trying to get my tools out. My tools are all in like I've got one of these like engineer's briefcases down here that folds out, so I keep all my tools in there off of the bench out of the way. So let's have a look then. Again, I've never been inside this one, and it is a proper radio, isn't it? Make sure I don't knock my beer over. Again, I wasn't going to take the back off of this, but it appears I am going to now. It's one of the beauties of a live stream. Ah, there he is, Rob. How you doing, mate? Just in time. We're just going to have a quick look in the back, Rob, because I can remember you saying that your dad had some problems with one of the tops of the valves. Had to do a bit of a modification to it. Let's just snip that cable tie off there. Right, there she is. Can you see inside that? Get the light down a bit better. There is some monster valves in there, aren't there? Or tubes, as you call them, Bill, on your side of the water. Yeah, we have got some possible issues here. So it's going to need a little bit of work, I think, by the looks of it. Let's have a look what we've got then. This old cloth surround. That's a monster speaker, that is. That's huge. I think, Rob, you said that this has got mains voltage on it, and let the speaker. So I've got to be careful with that. Check all that wire in. Yeah, so I don't know if anybody can spot any issues. Let me see if I can zoom you in a bit closer to the chassis a minute. There we go. I think you pretty much got it all in there apart from the speaker. So we have got some massive great valves in here, but one of the issues is this one has lost its top cap. This isn't plugged in, by the way, before. That's, yeah. This one's lost its top cap by the looks of it, and it's been soldered directly to the top of the valve. So really that probably needs a new valve and a new top cap, although I think Rob did say it does work still, so that's fine. That looks okay there. Not sure what's going on with the wire in there. That's possibly just a capacitive pickup there, isn't it? This is the main tuning gang here. This valve here has been taped up, so it looks like that one's come a bit loose from the base. So it looks like we're looking at a new valve there, possibly. That one in the back looks fine. This one's started to lose its paint a bit. It has got the top on it still. I don't know, anybody know if you can still get these top caps? I have seen some. I did search on eBay for some a while ago, and they didn't look anything like these little like brass ones. So I think you probably, like you say, Sean, you can get them, but I don't know where. I might have to rob them out of another radio, perhaps. But certainly I need 2 valves there, probably. Let's have a look which valves they are then. So this one is V2 then. So this is the VPT4. And this one is V3. It's a PT4D. I think I've looked up these, and I don't know if there's any available actually, so they might be difficult to get hold of. You got some top caps, Andrew, have you? I certainly need one, Andrew, by the looks of it. That one there. This one looks okay. And I'm assuming this is just like a pickup wire that's just looped around there. It doesn't connect to anything. So it's just picking up capacitance from that. Again, I don't know if that's correct without going right the way through it and trying to work it out. Yeah, it says C3 consists of a piece of insulated wire connected to C31, wrapped around the lead from C29 to V1 and taped up. Alright, so it's wrapped around, it just needs taping up then, that's all. So that is correct. That's strange, isn't it? So it must be a really sensitive set. Would that centre valve have a spray shield on it? Yes, it has, Bill. I think it was gold by the looks of it at one stage. I mean, the base is a little bit loose, so I need to probably re-rivet that in. It's a little bit wobbly. So a little coil down here by the looks of it, but certainly we've got quite a bit of paint loss on this one. I mean, does anybody know, can you repaint these with something? Can you actually paint something back over these, or has it got to be a specific, I'm assuming it's got to be metallic to give it some sort of shield, and isn't it? I think being it's a shortwave set, that would probably affect reception if that was missing. But yes, lovely. That's a whacking great transformer in there, which is nice to see. And there's a transformer up the top, which must be the voice coil, I suppose, up the top there, right next to the speaker. You can't see it slightly out of shot. Aquadag, Bill. Never heard of that. Gonna have to have some more alcohol a second. So what's Generali saying? I believe some TV sets of those in the high voltage section and the horizontal output. I'm not sure if they're the same size. Like I say, if anybody does know where I can get some valves for it, as I say, it's a Ferranti. That's the 1037. I think the other ones are in different cases, but this is particularly nice. I think this probably is the best looking one out of all of them. It's got like an Art Deco case on it. So I say that's the valve lineup: VHT4, VPT4, PT4D, and R4. So really the only valve that's looking healthy is V4, which is the R4. Visually looking healthy anyway. I have got a valve tester, the Mullard high-speed valve tester, which is over the other side of the room. I'm not going to use that until I've had it all apart and cleaned it and checked it all. But, I am looking forward to doing the high-speed valve tester. Actually, I've got loads of cards for it, so we'll get round to it at some stage. So yeah, anything anybody else wants to see on this radio? I'm not going to take the chassis out now. I haven't really got time to take the chassis out. Plus, if I take it out, I've got to put it back in because I don't want to leave it hanging about without its chassis in, really. Yeah, it looks like it says some new bulbs at some stage. There's a little bit of worm in it, but I think it's long gone. Case is in pretty good condition. I think just a clean and maybe a go over with some. I might have to just put some more wool over the top because it's a little bit scratched, but a good cleaning of it, Danish oil, fill the woodworm holes. That should come up really nice. So thanks, Rob. That's a cracking radio, that is. It's a proper radio, that, isn't it? One of these little tiny things. Cool. I take it this must be. What we got here then? What are these three boxes? Anybody know what these three little tin boxes are then? What is it? Unless that's something to do with the rectification, possibly. I don't know. It's certainly had some new wires on them. They almost look like batteries, don't they? Unless it's the IF transformers, possibly. Yeah. The potted caps, are they, Gary? The smoothing capacitors, really? Wow, I've never seen anything like that. Yeah, they look like they're properly soldered on as well. That's interesting, that is. I wonder if I can get any capacitance readings off of them. Let's have a look. I don't know if you can see that or not in the shot. Let's just put it up more upright. Let's go on capacitance. Just put it on auto range. Let's have a look. It's charging it up, isn't it? Let's get it off auto range. Let's get on some microfarads. I should have thought I'd better read some capacitance on it. It's jumping a bit, but somewhere around about 9-10 microfarads, that one. Could be in series on. That was not reading anything there. That one at the back. 4.6 microfarads. So we've got 4, nothing, and 10 by the looks of it. Yeah, I haven't really got a layout on this. I haven't got a decent layout on the top, really. You may have been. Stick them in the oven. Yeah, nothing wrong with tiny radios. So, Tony, how are you, mate? I didn't think you'd be joining us today. Of course, you're back now, aren't you? Yeah, I wonder if he did them, Rob. Do you reckon your dad done those? I mean, this one's got a cable tie around it, so certainly they've been out, I would think. So, yeah. Well, what do you think? That's are you back now? Back now, Anthony, are you? Or Tony? Thanks for joining us, mate. I've still got your Zenith in here, not touched that one yet. But yeah, I've never seen those before, so that's a new one for me. Come on. Just take it off a minute. Shall we see if it just lifts out? I don't think it's connected underneath the chassis. Potted capacitors. Definitely have to restuff those. Can't put a modern cut back in there. No, that's undoing from the bottom of the chassis, so I can't get that undone without taking the chassis out and putting a nut driver on the other side. So yeah, very unusual. For me anyway. I expect all you people that are into Valve radios are shouting at me what you up to, but could probably do with another bit of grill cloth, I expect. Grill cloth is looking a little bit warm, but it's not unusable. It's still usable. So yeah, let's pop the back on that one then. It's got the scary bit out of the way. I think again the back's probably been repaired at some stage. I don't know if it's supposed to be in 2 pieces like that, Rob, is it? Someone's popped a bit of wood on there and some nails, but you can't really see that. At least it's there. It's better to have one that's repairable than nothing at all. In fact, there are people that are making reproduction back panels now, aren't there? I've seen a few people advertising on eBay some of the more popular radios, but I'm sure if you've got a laser cutter and you can plot this out, it's probably fairly easy to cut a new back panel from. You never get the same material, I don't expect. But let's zoom you back out a little bit because we're in a bit close now. You don't want to just see that, do you? I'm just popping these screws back in because I don't want to lose anything from it. So that's another winter project, Rob. Thanks for that one. Another winter project for me. I think I am going to need to probably source some valves because I don't know enough about this type of radio to mess with stuff like that, really. But I do need one valve cap, Andrew. Right, let's get this one back out of the way. Oh, God. Okay. Right, how are we in the shot now? Let's have a look. Let's do the other monster radio, shall we? Get that one out of the way. Give me a bit more working space then. So, next up then is a Hacker. Sean there spotted one of these on eBay the other day. Hi Joe, how are you, mate? Well, average Joe. I think you don't think you're actually called Joe, are you? What are you going to dig around for, Joe? MDF. It does. Well, Rob did say that it did work once, but I don't think it did last time you turned it on, Rob, did it? Anyway, Sean spotted this particular radio on eBay the other day and sent me a link to it. Said he'd not seen one before, so I did say I've got one. Now this is another monster radio. Anybody seen one of these before? Is it in shot? Yes, it is. As you can see from the badge, it's a Hacker. Ooh, not too far in. Let's go in a little bit further. Apologies if that's giving you a headache. It is huge. What can we compare it to? What can we compare it to? Well, this is a Roberts R300 caselet. Does that give you an idea of how big this thing is? It's like a ghetto blaster. It's huge. What else can we use as a comparison? Here we go. This is a radio that everybody will know the size of. Hacker Hunterlet. It's a beauty, isn't it? So I've got a few hackerish things to show you as well, but basically this is the Hacker SP80. It's one of their later radios. It is. It does weigh a fair bit, but this radio is actually designed by a guy called Rolf Beckett, who he's been here twice now. He's one of my good customers, and I've got a record deck down there that I've got to repair for him as well. But he designed this. It was Hacker's only ever stereo set, I believe. Yeah, it was made by Hacker Sound, I believe, which were Hacker went bust, I think, and Hacker Sound was formed. It's it's the same on both sides, look. You know, which is the front and which is the back. Now it's a 3-wave band radio. There's a couple notable differences. The aerial's not very good on this one. Unfortunately, someone's pulled it down with it not fully pulled out and has bent the bottom section. So it needs a new bottom section or probably a new aerial. It's got your standard like television FM aerial socket in it, which is unusual. That takes the male, I think it's a male one, I haven't got one up there to hand, but that takes like a normal coax plug. And the headphone socket is the larger, I think it's 1/4 inch, isn't it? The larger size. So it's got stereo, obviously. It's got a little stereo light, FM stereo light. And there's all sorts of sockets in it from memory somewhere. Where are they? So we've got mains input down that end. Let's put that aerial down before I make it even worse than it is. And we've got a 5-pin DIN on this end. So, as Sean said, they are quite rare radios. They do come up every so often. I think there is one on eBay at the moment, but I think it's something like 350 quid, Sean, isn't it? It's quite expensive. But yeah, it's one of those things. If you collect hackers, I mean, it's got to be the biggest hacker they ever made, surely. I haven't got one bigger than this. Design-wise, I've got some info on it. It was made, I believe, I've got a list here somewhere of all the hackers. So again, if you've got a Yahoo account and you join the Hacker Radio group on Yahoo, you can download a lot of this documentation. I mean, there's a little quick guide to it there, a little sales brochure, and I've downloaded and printed this out, which is really it's pretty much all the radios that Hacker made from 1960 to 1979. And what I didn't realise was that the Hacker RP10 was Hacker's first radio. I always thought the Volv sets were earlier, but they're not. The RP10 Herald came in 1960, and 1961 they brought out the Mayflower 1, and in 1962 the Mayflower 2. I've not got either of those sets, so they're on my watching list to get one day when there's one near enough to drive to, because I wouldn't want to put one in the post. So yeah, this basically goes through all the hacker models. We get up near the end, and we've got 1977 is the SP80. So it's got elliptical speakers at either end. What else does it say? So it's got the royal warrants. Yeah, it's got 2 royal warrants on the front, look. So it's got by appointment to Her Majesty the Queen, and by appointment to HM Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Mother. Oh, right, okay. So it's got the Queen Mother and the Queen's warrants on it, which is nice. The front, this is it looks plasticky. It looks like it's a fake. It's that perfect. It looks fake, but it is actually real. According to this, it's made of Rio rosewood. It's carefully matched veneers of genuine Rio rosewood, so that is proper wood on there. It's in pretty good nick, as I say. It's exactly the same on the front and back. Again, I bought this a while ago, and actually I've promised this set to Rolf. Rolf wants to buy this, so I sort of said I might, I don't know. It's a rare set, and I don't think I'll get another one in this good condition. How are we doing on chat then? Let's have a look, see if there's any questions there. 250 quid starting price. That's probably not bad. That's a fair price. It's a lot of radio, but I think inside, from what I've read, the insides are pretty much a consort. So the radio isn't very big inside, but what it does take up a lot of room is these speakers. Now, if you're ever buying one of these, you need to make sure it's got these speaker grills in good condition, because they're very fragile and they're very often broken. And the other thing you need to look for is this in good condition. Hopefully you're in shot there. Let me just double check. Can you see all of that? I think you can. let's just pop that bottom off, because this is plastic, so it sits on some quite thin plastic, which also, come on, off. God, don't want to come off now. Don't want to break it. There's my big screwdriver. So underneath there is our battery compartment. So it's it's like an upside down Hacker Sovereign battery holder. But again, I mean, you can see this one's got a little split in it there, look. But these are really fragile. So if you're buying one of these, you need to make sure it's got that and it's in one piece. And I've got a little tiny crack coming there, so I'm going to need to probably just do a bit of melting on it. It's quite thin plastic. It's not their best. It's not their best design by a long shot, but what else we've got in there? That's just the mains input. We've got a fuse in there, chocolate block, and then you can see down the bottom. I think you can see down the bottom. There's the 5-pin DIN comes off and all the wires disappear through the bottom there. So anyway, I thought I'd just show you that one. Don't like the sound of that crunchy noise, but that is right. So yeah, what do you think of that one? Anyone seen one of them before? How many PP9s? It's just it's a normal like Hacker, I think it's 8 D cells that one takes. Wonder if they're 8x5 speakers, Mike. Let's have a look, see what it says. Speakers are 6x4. They're 6x4, Mike. So 2 6x4 speakers. Power output is 1 watt per channel. So I assume 2 channels is going to be 2 watts. So it's going to be quite loud. In fact, I think we'll stick the power on it, shall we? Be wrong to have something like this and not power it up, wouldn't it? Unless you don't want to power it up. Yeah, you'd need a you'd need a pretty good 3D printer for that, Bill. I think John could probably do it because he's got the Ultimaker Plus model, which I think has got like a working bed of that sort of height, so he can print much more. Who have we got in here now? Error 52. How are you? Jess from Helland. Jess, yeah, because I thought you were Jess from Holland, didn't I, the other week? But Jess from Helland in Cornwall. You've just bought the Robert Stream 93U. I've not tried one, Jess, to be fair. It's one of those things. It's a modern radio. I'm sure some of the Robert stuff does sound good, to be fair. Some of their modern stuff, it's all right. Yeah, it'd be rude not to, wouldn't it, Mike? Really, I suppose we ought to fire it up. Yeah, some of the modern Robert stuff is good. You know, people knock it, and you can see why. It's not made the same way as these proper old radios are. This, as I say, the build quality on this isn't brilliant. I mean, that handle for some reason doesn't go past there, but that might be on purpose, because a lot of the problems with the handles where they come down and contact the woodwork, well, that can't do that. It just sort of naturally stops on the leather cloth there. It doesn't go down on the back either. So let's blow the doors off again then, see if we can get this thing working. Let's try to run the power lead. All right. Never know whether you're coming or going with this one, do you? Because it's the same both ways round. See if that'll go right in. No. Some of these power leads have got this shoulder on them, and they won't go into a lot of the Roberts radios. Let me just go and see if I can find one that will go in there. I've normally got a couple of these on the bench, but typical today I haven't. Is that the same? Is it a bit longer reach? See if this one will do it. Cyberflyer, I did have a JRC NRD. I think it was a 5. Did they do a 535 or 545? I did have one once. Lovely radio, but never messed with one, to be fair. Let's see if I can get this plug in. If I can get the plug in, then we're there. Yeah, that's better. Let's fire up the monster. Or as Error 52 is saying, let's fire up the beast. And it is a beast. It is a monster radio. I'll stick it into my Vario. I have powered it up before, so it's not the first time I've tried it. But let's stick the aerial up so we can try it on FM. It's got a mono button. It's got a playback button. So assuming that means you can play something else through it. So you could hook it up to your iPhone or something like that, connect it up to the DIN socket. Let's power it up with the variable power supply. It's coming to life. Scratchy. Well, it's drawing next to no power at all, so it's in good shape electronically by the looks of it. Let's find some stations then. Oh, our stereo lights come on. Oh, I must say, headphone wearers beware. There's a radio going on loud.
Quick to pull off with music from Walton's Facade. Lucy Crowe with Joseph Middleton at the piano, and those 3 facade settings by William Walton, bringing to an end their Radio 3 lunchtime concert here at Wigmore Hall. It's pretty rare that you get a singer with such an accomplished voice and technique who's also so natural and direct. She sings without any artifice and uses every colour of her.
Well, stereo works.
Here on the radio as well, just how relaxed and at ease she is here on.
Not quite got a good enough signal to get stereo on radio 2 by the looks of it. It's sort of...
Baby, don't sweat it. We're not cut out to hold each other. Comprehensible?
Absolutely incomprehensible, and I was trying to find recordings of it online, and they didn't exist at all, or if they existed, they were rubbish. So I thought, well, let's give it a shot.
It does sound very good, doesn't it?
Nutshell.
You know, people knock the build quality on the later sets, but end of the day, it's a lovely sound. And I mean, look at the size of the case. It's a Hacker SP80 jack, probably something you wouldn't have seen before, so I thought I'd dig it out because Sean wanted to see one. I'll just get the aerial down and I'll tilt the top towards you so you can see it a bit better. There you go. So it's an SP80. It's Hacker's only ever stereo radio. I've got another radio to show you in a minute from Hacker, which is a sort of, it's a fake stereo radio, shall we say. So yeah, let's just go through the FM band.
The Times winged chariot is at our back, so let me point you again to the programme website for her full recitation.
the knicht were that tide to marry.
Why begin it? Does there ain't any future in it?
That is loud. That's half volume.
One day at a time, sweet Jesus, that's all I must.
That's moving air now. I can hear air. I can feel air coming out where the push buttons are.
Stuff's in higher. Hope you're having a great weekend. So look, group chats, they can be so annoying, can't they?
That's classic FM. Dial alignment slightly out because that's just over 99. It should be 100.
Just a little tune, according to Sir Edward Elgar, but one I certainly never touched.
The price is starting from 99p. They was
Bit of Bay City Rollers, look. God, all on here, isn't it? So we've got medium wave as well.
It's ridiculous. It has gone crazy, but you still do.
Yeah, that was actually a lovely shot from Tiger. Maybe just misjudged the wind fraction.
Go fair, by sound of it.
The ridge. But maybe if it landed 2 to 3 yards short, it would have caught the ridge and come all the way back down to the hole within probably 10 feet. So it was a really nice shot, just a tad unlucky.
All the way over the water. This is a team event, Holly. It's all about Europe trying to beat USA and vice versa. Tiger Woods will not want to come out of a Ryder Cup having lost all 4 matches. There will be a pride thing there. There will be an individual desire, won't there?
Absolutely. You can
Sounds good through the camera, right? Yeah.
Team format, but
it is pretty impressive, to be fair, sound-wise. Compared to the Hunter, Sean, I mean, Hunter's supposed to be their best sounding radio, isn't it? It's not comparable, I don't think, because it just sounds so different. It's stereo for one, so on FM it's coming out of both ends. It really sounds impressive, and it's a much bigger. There's not a lot inside this case, I don't believe. It's quite hollow inside, so it's a great sound box with both of those speakers in there. To be fair, it's pretty impressive sound. I'm not a sound engineer, so I can't give you an exact opinion, but in my opinion, I like bassy music, and to me that sounds, it's definitely bassier than you could get a Hunter going. Probably bassier than the R707 will go as well, and certainly bassier than the Super Sovereign. It's difficult to say, Sean, really, because it does sound really good. Build quality isn't there. You know, it's near the end of Hacker's lifetime, mid to late 70s, but it ain't bad.
Very quickly on singles days.
All your traffic and travel.
You've got a limbo.
Reception's pretty good. And long wave. Dodgy buttons. We've only got one station on long wave, which is there.
Discover great podcasts every week.
It's really important that we find these stories
Radio
that
4.
you wouldn't hear elsewhere. Yeah.
Podcast Radio Hour, presented by Amanda Litherland.
But to be fair, we've got some nice music today by the sound of it. You can't beat it on FM.
The Isles of Scilly, Devon's radio station.
BBC Radio Devon. BBC News at 2 o'clock. I'm Barry Caffrey. Theresa May has called on Conservative
what her plan for a deal with the EU. The annual party conference is getting underway.
It's a lovely tone on it. So really, on FM, it comes into its own. On medium wave, it's much of a muchness. It's not any better sounding than any other radio, really. But stereo, FM. I'm sure there's radios that would beat it. I've got a Bang & Olufsen in the other room that sounds absolutely amazing. But that is a beast of a radio. So if you're buying one, like I say, you need to make sure that your grills are okay on both ends, that your plastic tray's okay, and that your aerial's okay. Obviously, I haven't got a good aerial on this one, so I'm going to need to find a donor radio, try and somehow put a new bottom section in here. You know, I believe I could cut it here, I suppose, shorten it and then drop it back on again. But I don't know whether you can solder these on. Obviously they're crimped in the factory. So anyway, what's the general consensus on that one then? That's pretty monster radio. Does sound excellent, doesn't it? I have got a Hacker cassette Sovereign as well in the other room. So I've got a Hacker cassette recorder. What else are we saying? Yeah, you like that, Jack? Cheers, mate. Certainly has got some boom error, and that again, you've got bass and treble control, so you can pretty much tailor it to your own preference, really. We've got to get on the beard, Joe, haven't you? It's not Joe, is it? What's your name, Joe? It's not Average Joe, is it? Ah, Happy Little Fox Benji, how are you, mate? Yeah, as I say, there is one on eBay at the moment. Not that I'm advertising for the seller. Does look in quite good nick. I'm really pleased with the condition of this one. It's got some station markers missing that. And these are fairly unique to this radio, but it looks like they don't look like any of the other Hacker ones. So I could probably make some of those on the 3D printer if I can get the thing working. Ah, Sam, that's it, Sam. Of course it is. So anyway, yeah, I thought I'd show you that. As I say, that is on the Hacker Yahoo forum if you want to know the dates of all these radios. Because I thought the next radio I'm going to show you was the last Hacker, but I don't think it was. It was certainly in the last year of their production, but it looks on this like Hacker's last radio was the RP85 Night, and again a very rare radio. The RP82 Herald, very rare radio. They do come up sometimes, but they don't look much. You wouldn't know it wasn't a consort, and consorts don't really fetch any money. They're not a very well looked after one. Yeah. Where are you, Andrew? Get some down here, quick. What else are we saying? So yeah, the radio I'm going to show you now is this one here, which is also from 1979, which is the last year of production for Hacker. I think it's Hacker Sound. We'll get that one up shortly. I need to put this one safely out of the way somewhere. That is a monster radio. So a lot of the information in this this little guide here to Hacker was got from Radio, which I showed you the other week. Hacker Radio by Dixon and Nuttall, plus some from people from the Hacker Radio group. Now that book there that they refer to, Hacker Radio, is this one. And this was given to me again by a customer in Torrington, actually. A nice book, a lovely history book again. Obviously Hacker are no longer with us. This goes through the history of Hacker. It's got some lovely old photos. Covers some of their televisions. Look at that for a radiogram there. That, oh, that's proper, isn't it? Obviously, it talks about Dynatron as well, because that's where Hacker originated. And in the back, it's got a list of the models, which is where they've got a lot of the information from this. And this only goes up, though, to 1976, when it got taken over by Hacker Soundler. And again, that book is available for download on the Hacker Radio group on Yahoo. So if you go into their files section, that and this is available in their files section. If you want any like these type of things, little brochures and that, they're usually on their photo section. So again, well worth joining the Hacker group to get that sort of info. Right, let's bring up another Hacker then that you might not have seen before. I don't know if anyone has got an SP80 or has seen one or heard one before, but it's quite impressive, I must say. So the last Hacker to look at for today then. How about that? Another beast. This looks, well, it's a big radio. It's a big radio. I know Sean's got the Roberts RM40, I think, isn't it, Sean? That's quite big, but this has to be bigger than that. I'm sure it is. Let's plug it in a minute. Okay. So let's have a quick check of the chats and then I'll... What's the link? Or the link for the Hacker Yahoo site. Let me just see if I can copy it a minute. It might not let you view this, Jack, because you need to apply for membership. I'm not sure what the price was. And I think he's asking a bit much. Well, from memory, I think I paid a couple £100 for that one, Benji. Okay, so this is the Hacker Windsor. I think it's got a model number. I can't remember what it's called. It's very light. I said that the SP80 was a consort. Well, I was wrong there. It's not. This is a consort inside this one. And what they've done is they've paralleled up two speakers. We'll put them in series. I'm not sure whether they're in series or parallel. It's not actually a stereo set. It's mono, but with two speakers. And they're angled, I suppose, to give it a more of a room fill-in sound. Again, it's a 3-band radio, bass and treble separate on it. I mean, if you've got a sideboard or something, it would look quite nice set up on that. Hi Paul, how are you, mate? But yeah, it is the Hacker Windsor. I think, I'm not sure what the model number is now. I did say just now, didn't I? RM79, that is. Hacker Windsor RM79. Now, one of the things these suffer from, and every one I've seen has had the same issue, and that is the veneer on them is pretty bad. Well, I don't think it's the veneer, it's the actual glue I think it's stuck with. And I mean, this, you can see this one is coming apart, and it's the same on both ends. It's very fragile. In fact, I mean, a piece came off this morning when I lifted it up on the bench. On the back, you've got your typical Hacker rear grille. That was a little bit bent, but it's not too bad. We've got our input socket again. Got tape, so that's output to tape, isn't it? That's not input. There's no input on this one. I'm sure you could modify that to take an input. And the FM aerial is a little bit like the Roberts. It's just a bit of wire that goes in and probably loops around inside a couple of times. It's got a label on the bottom here that's manufactured by Hacker Sound in Bournemouth, so that proves it's a later radio. The top's not too bad. It's got a couple of things on it. It's a couple of little burn marks. Basically, I think you could get away with just re-veneering the ends of this one. And I was watching Andrew, which was Vintage Electronics Repair, I think, and he has bought some iron-on stuff, so I might have a go at that with this one. Does it sound any good, Mike? Yeah, it probably doesn't. Yeah, it is a bit Danish styling, isn't it, Sam? You got a new aerial for your friend's Hacker. I bet he was happy, mate. If you managed to get him a Hacker aerial, they're like rare as hen's teeth. They are. They're like gold dust. Any Hacker aerials, you know, if you got them, you don't want to part with them, really. Oh, dirty tape input. Yeah, that should sound great, Paul, shouldn't it? You'll have to look it up, Sean. There's very, very little info out there on this radio. I mean, it's really, this is not good. I mean, even the Hacker badge is plastic and blended into the side. It's not a metal badge anymore. So really, it's like the last ditch Hacker, really. This is 1979, like I say. It was out with all the consorts, that old Herald and old Knight. But, you know, it's still a Hacker, though. So, you know, anybody that collects Hacker, it's one to stick on your to-do list, but you are going to have problems with veneer almost definitely. Right, so let's, without further ado, stick some juice up it. Again, this one hasn't been restored by me, it's as I bought it. So on FM, where are we on the band?
Con i ragazzi, vecchie fanciulle, quale parrucca, e presto la barba, quella somiglia, mezzo biglietto, tutti mi chiedono, tutti mi vogliono, tutti mi chiedono, tutti mi vogliono.
It don't sound as good as the SP80, definitely not. Don't sound bad though.
And I think we were just procrastinating, and she decided to crawl into my friend's wardrobe and put her headphones in, and then kind of give us
water stress, that's the first thing. It's not got enough moisture, it will almost certainly not be doing it. Are there other big overhanging trees or anything competing with it?
It's got quite good light. There is a chestnut behind it, but that doesn't cast shade because the sun...
Not just the shade, it's the roots.
I think it's quite good for speech. It's it hasn't got the sort of oomph and the bass that that the SP80 had, definitely not. And it's not as good as the older Hackers, definitely.
Plants need potash.
It's making some strange noises.
Shoots and arrow through the chest. Whatever we know only brings me closer to yes.
It's very quiet. There's no background hiss or anything. It's quite quite a nice tuner in it, but I don't know how they've done it. Like I say, it's a consort, which is a little tiny. I don't know whether they went to Japan or China for their boards later on. Medium wave.
The hall was full when we came out there.
Wales accent is not often heard, I don't think, on television, is it? I think the rest of the UK is more used.
In the heat of battle, he's one down against John Rahm.
Oh. There you go. Live broadcasting, eh? One of my buttons just flew off that. Usual sticky button. Where's 1500? So we should have Radio 4 up here somewhere.
Climatic conditions, and so they represent a terrific resource in terms of genetic variation.
Claire, why are peas important? Why do you need to do this research?
Well, they're important really for three reasons. The first is an environmental.
Well, there we go. There's the Hacker Windsor one that you probably haven't seen before. I got a few other rarer ones. So what do you think, Mike? It doesn't sound as brilliant, does it? Hi Theo, how are you? Yeah, I'm not giving it a great sales pitch. I mean, it is the last of Hacker, but it is still a Hacker, and if you've got a Hacker collection, then you need one, don't you? That's what I thought when I seen it. I thought I need that. And again, it's a rare set, so they do command quite high prices, but I would say probably not worth a high price. If you look at a consort, they go real cheap. You can pick up a consort for about 30 quid, 40 quid for a consort, which is basically the same radio but with one speaker, not two. And I think the later Night and the later Herald with the like scroll lettering on them, if you go into the Hacker group, then you'll see pictures of the later models on there, because say they are quite rare. I've had my eye out for them, but they very rarely come up for sale. I don't think they made a lot of them near the end. These weren't very high production at all. So, and again, Sean, you've got the RM40 from Roberts. I think that probably is a better sounding radio. I think it's got a higher output than this. I don't think it's particularly high output. And the other thing with the Roberts RM40s, you've got a directional ferrite in there. This one is fixed, so if you want to tune this one on medium wave or long wave, you've got to get hold of it and move it like that. Well, if it's on a shelf, you can't have it hanging off the shelf. So what they did with theirs is they put a little movable, mechanically operated ferrite in there with a little lever on the back. So instead of you having to move the radio, you just move the lever, which moves the ferrite. So a little bit better, really. But yeah, you know, it belongs in a collection. If you collect Hacker and you want them all, you're going to need to get one of those at some stage, aren't you? But yeah, I will restore that one and repair it when I eventually get a bit of time. So yeah, it's definitely not as good. Yeah, it's strange. Hacker was always like a real high end, whereas Roberts, I think, catered for the more not poor people, but you know what I mean. It's I suppose Hacker was sort of like more upper class, and Roberts was more midstream, middle class, I suppose. Gives you sort of upside down feeling, the sound controls on top like that, like a portable radio. Face. Yeah, I'll say that's the two Hackers out the way anyway. That's today's Hacker fix. Let's get my iPad back over here now. So next up then, let's have a look, see how we're doing on the bench. Yeah, you should be able to see that still fine. Next up, I've had an email through from a chap over in Dublin, actually, basically saying that he doesn't trust eBay where it comes to buying a Roberts R707. Now I can't blame him really, because much as you can say a radio is working, unless you know whether it is working, you can't say it's working, if you know what I mean. If you know Roberts R707 and the Roberts R600, they got a module in them, so it could work on FM, AM totally dead, or the other way around, or just makes a hissing noise. So people turn it on and it hisses, it's working, isn't it? Not. But yeah, Paul, no, I'm definitely no further into identifying that junk, mate. There's all sorts of weird stuff in there. What I think I need to do, Paul, is dig out all the weird stuff, put it on here on a close-up, and let people tell me what the hell it is, because I ain't got a clue what some of it is. So anyway, getting back to this guy in Ireland has emailed me and said, could I supply him one fully restored and guaranteed? So I said, yeah, of course I can. So I've had a look through my collection. I've come up with this one, which, to be fair, is in pretty good nick. Things you need to look at when you're buying an R707 is, the first thing is this grill. You can see that one. I don't know if you can see that on the camera, but that is a couple little tiny dinks in it, but that is as good as you're going to get one of these. In fact, I probably bought this to keep for myself, if the truth's known, because I'm always looking out for ones with flat grills on them, because they're rare. You need to make sure you've got the handle on it in good nick and not all split and broken. Although again, you can buy scrap sets. You can buy scrap sets of these fairly easily. They still fetch around about 20 quid for a scrap set, but restored, you know, they do fetch good money. And I've probably got about 10 of these, I would think, if not more. This is the newer one with the rectangular badge on this side. The older ones have got the Roberts written right across the front in the middle. And one of the advantages of having the newer one is it's got a 9-volt power socket, that's a 12-volt power socket in the base for Roberts power supply, which I have actually got up there. So that is the matching Roberts power supply, the PS12 from back in the day. I've fully restored that one. It was all smashed up and all the innards were very dodgy, so I've restored it, put a new plug on it, and that is actually working perfectly now. But that's what's supposed to go in there. If you buy one of them horrible Chinese wall wart things and plug it into the side of it, it will work, but you won't hear anything on medium wave or long wave, because it'll totally wipe the radio out, the noise off of the thing. And FM should sort of just about work, but it will be really noisy, except for the stronger channels that break through it. So really, you've either got to use batteries or a power supply. Now the batteries, again, on these are strange for those that haven't seen these before. I mean, it's a very popular radio in the UK. They're quite sought after in working order, because they do sound amazing. These are real sort of hacker beaters. Certainly it knocks spots off of that Windsor, this one, and it would give the SP80 a good run for its money. The batteries that this used, now I sold one of these radios to a guy over in the States, and he got it, he said he loved it, but there was something wrong. Someone's taken all the batteries out, battery terminals out of it. What he didn't realise is it uses these, which are PJ996s. They're 6-volt batteries. So basically what you've got to do is take that little spacer thing out. These sit in there, and the springs just rest against it's like little circuit boards there. Bit of wire stuck there in the way. Let's get that out of the way. So yeah, basically I just sit against that circuit board and make contact in the center. These two little circuit boards with plates on them. You've got to get them the right way round as well, because if you put them that way up, it won't work. Put them that way up, it won't work. They've got to go that way. Then your little spacer bar goes back in, if it will. Modern batteries are a bit bigger than the old ones. Yeah, there we go. So that's your batteries. Now I've had a quick look over this radio because I wanted to make sure it was going to be okay. All the knobs and everything are fine. They're all cleaned up fine. There's a little bit of corrosion on them, but that's normal for these. It's got those dreaded channel markers. Look. Let's just get my chat back up because I'm going waffling on and not answering anyone's questions here as well, am I? Okay. You've only got 4, Mike. I definitely am into double figures on them. I know there's at least 5 down under there. I got 2 out in the hallway. I've got another one in here. 3, 4. I've got about 10 to 12, I would think. You've got a Mint R606MB for sale, Kev. Welcome to the site, mate. Welcome to the channel, even. I've got plenty of 606 MBs here. I know Sean was after one, so you could tie up with Sean there if you want to get a shot of it. I've got a red one that was given to me a while back, which should come okay. Yeah, Bill, here's the lantern batteries. You can get them quite cheap over here, but I mean, the chap that I sold the radio to over in the States, he did struggle. I think he did manage to go and get some, and then he was obviously over the moon with the radio. It's amazing. So that's the first thing you need to look for, is that you've got the grill in good nick. Timber, you can sort if it's got scratches and that, you can just rub it back. Rexine, these are pretty tough, these. If they do get a little nick, you can use some leather adhesive and they'll glue back virtually invisibly. So the Rexine's not too much of an issue. You need to make sure you've got the tops for your knobs. Very often these are missing and you can't get them anymore. They're different than anything they make now. And a lot of the other radios don't fit because these are quite big. The other thing is the aerial. Now this one has got an issue with the aerial that I didn't realise initially, because it did look quite good, but it was sticking. You can see it's sticking there. So I put some WD-40 down it last night, just let it sit overnight, thinking it would free it up. Well, it did free it, but the issue is, if I can see it now. Come up quite enough, but there's a bend in this aerial inside one of the joints here. I think it's one of these bottom ones, which is making it really stiff. So I'm going to need to swap the aerial out on that one, which is a bit of a shame, but I'm going to have to pinch one out of another set because I'm not going to let it go out if it isn't perfect. So really then, all I've got to do on the outer case is give it a clean, get the old finish off of these sides and refinish them. This strap's a little bit loose, so I need to see what's going on with that inside. I've got to peel off all these sticky labels. I tend to do that just with my fingernail and a bit of either WD-40, or I've got some of that Goo Gone stuff up there that someone from the States, I think it was Jack, actually recommended that, didn't you, Jack? Before I get everything falling down, which is this stuff here, that does work on them. It does say surface safe as well, so it won't take your paint off. I have used that. It doesn't work very quickly, but it does work. The other thing you can get them off with is isopropyl. One of the things you'll find with isopropyl, if you use it on like shiny surfaces like this, is sometimes you can get like a haziness develop with it. So if you do use isopropyl, get it off quick and neutralize it with some water. But it's actually not in bad condition at all. There's not hardly any scratching on that dial plate, so I'll take the dial plate off and polish that up. So just pop the batteries in it. Let's pop the aerial up. The aerial's not too bad actually, but it's got a kink in it somewhere. I know it has because I've seen it earlier. Yeah, I'll get to that, Sean. I've got another quite a rare, or what I think must be rare because I've never seen one before. I've got another R707 which is pretty rare, but we'll concentrate on this one at the minute. So I've got the batteries in it. Let's see if it works. So let's go on to FM. One of the strange things that Roberts did on this is they've got an AFC button, and you'd think if you push the AFC button in, that activates the AFC. Well, it's not. It doesn't. Basically, the AFC is on. You turn it off by pushing the button in, which is a bit strange, a bit backwards really, but that's how they've done it. They're all like that. So let's stick it on FM. AFC's on.
People using those silks and satins and linens that shows and memorials and buttons and bows.
Pesticides and herbicides. We've spoken recently about developments with glyphosate, the systemic herbicide.
Yeah, you're right, Bill. The sound that comes out of these things is pretty unique, really. It's I don't know. I think if you're listening, the treble and the top end on these is really, really good. So if you listen to classical music, stuff like Radio 4 is a lot of speech. It really is hard to beat. It's got a lot of bass as well, but bass does distort.
That is toxic to plants, and it can be used for getting rid of unwanted vegetation. A pesticide is something that is toxic to an organism, and that can be broken down into whether it's an insecticide, a acaricide, something that's toxic against mites.
I think it's the battery or something. Those are the two categories. It's the back button, basically. It's not the speaker.
Within both categories.
We've recently heard about
the other night, the funniest dream of all. I dreamt that I was kissing you behind the door.
Basically, the bass and treble controls are over the top. If you wind them right the way up, it really does rattle out. So if you like extreme ends of the spectrum, you can do it with this radio.
I love you, honey, the lies, I love you, I love you.
I just said it to be funny, we both know that you look better.
So, as I say, that is a great sounding set. It really is. And I mean, I'm actually amazed this one's working because basically there's a module inside them. I've got some modules up there I can show you quickly. It's my little modules box. So it's got one of these in it, which is basically fitted inside the back of it. And it's got these old AF, well, this has got AF116s in it. It's basically that's fitted inside that box, which is real deep in the guts of the radio. It's a pig to get out, it's a pig to restore. But even though this set is working, I'm going to still take the module out. The reason for that is it could be working today, it could go off to Dublin tomorrow, arrive in Dublin couple days later and it won't work, because those transistors develop shorts, as I'm sure a lot of you know if you've been watching the channel or you're familiar with these old radios. They suffer from tin whiskers. So they've basically got to be changed, really. If you're selling on a set like this one that's going abroad, then I'll put brand new transistors in it. And they won't be the AF117 types, they'll probably be the Russian GT322Bs, which I did recently in a radio, and they work great. So this one I'll have a brand new refurbed, well not brand new, but a refurbished module with new capacitors and new transistors in it. So it'll be good as new. In fact, it'll be better than new. I'll also replace all of the capacitors in it. They'll have axial capacitors in them, because that looks authentic, and they do sound, if you recap them, they sound even better. Hi Don, Dan even, how are you? Yeah, you don't have to remember. Are the R606s any good? Yeah, they are good, Kev. They are good. They're not as good as this. They're not as good as the R600, I don't think. But they're better than the later sets, like the R800 and the R25, the R24s. The 606 is better than those. Cheers, Jeff. Module work. Yeah, if they made them pluggable, would be great. Russian transistors, yeah, they are very good. They don't work in every situation, as we discovered with the radio I done for Tony the other week. That Magnavox didn't like the Russian transistor in its oscillator circuit. It liked the English one though. I don't know what that is. So we better check it on the other bands as well. Medium wave.
First point of the day, and it goes the way of the USA.
That's working now on these radios. As with most of the radios of this era, you've got the turntable on the bottom. That basically is so as you can spin the set around for best reception, really.
And the first point of the final day goes to the United States. Chris Latcham.
So you,
Casey has been given a reprieve by Brooks Koepka at the 17th. Casey couldn't watch his chip down the
so
hill.
that's about the best spot there, really.
All square. Casey now has this and 3.
I don't know whether she's a midwife or whether she.
Brian in Creditors called in. He says, "For my wife, that's my wife Valerie, because it's her birthday this Friday, could you play Rod Stewart? I Will Always Love You?" Of course we could.
This is working on medium wave, long wave.
As I say, you can cook them down, you won't notice it, but towards the end, as the maggot gets bigger, the price gets more, and much less pleasant. I say most of the time, these things are inconvenient, horrible, but you can't taste it.
Something interference this light, I expect. Yeah.
Lovely. Or in syrup. Yeah.
So that light's interfering with it on long wave, but it is all working, which is good news. So we've got a good starting point. We know it's working. So what I thought I'd do to continue on, if we've got time, is I think we'll strip this one down. What do you think? Shall we take it apart? Should we take it apart? I think we ought to take it apart, don't we, really? I can show you roughly what to do to get one of these apart. What I wouldn't recommend is anybody trying to work on the module, unless you're good with electronics and you've done a lot of stuff in the past. You will struggle to get the module out of these. You really will. And I mean, I've got videos out there that show you me taking them out, so I'm sure you know what I mean. It's a tough job. Yeah. Definitely take it apart. Okay. So what we'll do first, and we'll get the just get that power supply out of the way. So that you can probably see I've got the old voltmeter out. I had to use that to tune up a radio the other day, one of Tony's radios. What a pig that was. What a devil of a job. But yeah, I had to use that because it's got a center 0 on it. Right, so let's get something to put all the bits into a minute. So I'll totally strip this one down. So you've got little turnbuckles on the back that just push in. Take a bit of wood out, and I've sent radios back without this bit of wood in before. It's so easy to forget that. Tear it down. Tear it down. Out with the batteries. Doing. So get the back cover off, because that's a pain if you leave this in when you're stripping them down. I'm hoping to get this one done really within the next few weeks if I can. So this is a sort of start on it, and I don't know if Michael's watching, but I did let him know that his new radio would be featuring in today's show. So all I've done basically just undone the 4 screws to hold that back panel in. Next thing you need to do is get in underneath. Put 3 screws. These 2 here on the outside. Hopefully I'm still in shot. Tell me if I'm not. 2 screws there. You've also got some cup washers in here which you can't really see, but pull them out, because if you don't pull them off now, they'll come off when you least expect it and you'll never find them again. So pull the little cup washers off. And then you've got this screw here which just holds the aerial in. We've also got a little cup washer on that one as well. So that's all the screws out of the base. Basically the screws go through these metal bars here. Hopefully you can see that. You've got 2 metal bars that run up each side. Those screws go into there. The next thing we need to do is get this power jack off, which is a bit of a pain. I like to take them off rather than just leave them in there. You can just desolder the wires and solder them back on, but then you've got loads of power wires knocking about, so I'll just take it out whole really. So that's out. I have done a lot of these sets, so if anybody's stuck with one of these, just let me know. I've done loads and loads of them. I've probably done 6 this year, I would think, and like over the past few years I've done loads of them. See, Sean's got one of the sets I did on my YouTube channel, which I was keeping for myself, but he wanted one and I had more, so I thought, well, okay, you can have it. So the chassis should be free now. It's basically just a case of lifting it up through the top case. But usually what happens is a load of gunk and that gets settled in these cracks here. And it can be a bit sticky. So you've got to give it some welly usually to get it out. Ah, it's coming. There we go. Come on, out you come. Out you come. There he goes. There he is. So next thing you've got to do is get the speaker out. Find me nut driver. Never get the right size nut driver when you need it. There's a washer under each of these. Nice little hole in the bottom of the metal plate here to allow you to undo them. There's the speaker. All the nuts and washers flying everywhere. So the last thing to get out is the battery tray. Just 2 screws holding that in. Almost definitely out of camera shot now, but it's just 2 screws. One at the top, or one at the top end of each bit. Let's get my head in the way for you. It was a good shot. Top of the head shot. There we go. One Roberts R707 chassis. That didn't take long, did it? Let's get some more beer down. Oh, someone's ringing me. So, there we have the R707 in bits. I'm going to keep it all together in this basket here. Make sure it doesn't get damaged. So this is the dreaded module just in there. It's an LP1164-1. This module is obviously working, so it might be that it's a later module with AF127s in it, or AF125s instead of the AF117s. Speaker's perfect. No issues with that. It's a good condition. Some nice screw there for the bottom chassis. So yeah, nothing really untoward in there. These are all the axial capacitors that will need changing. As I say, it is working, so you could leave them in, but really, if any of these, especially in the later stages of the amplifier down here, if any of these go wrong, you can take your take out your output transistors. So you really need to check them at least. So it's got an OC71 in there as well. Oh, it says T7. T7? Never heard of that before. Anyway, as you can see, these bits come off as well. They just hook in the top of the case. Aerial. Just push off the little clip. And that pulls out. The top plate is more tricky because you've got to get the top plate off to get in at this switch bank. Now this is one of the later ones because it's got a green switch bank. The older ones had like a brownie colour like this. So this is a later chassis by the looks of it. This is 56,585. So to get the top panel off, which has got to come off because you've got to unscrew these screws to take this switchboard's got to come out to get at the connections underneath for the module. And what you can do, and I've done it on the last couple now, you can leave all these wires here connected. You've still got to desolder all the module wires, but if you can leave this lot connected and just disconnect this end, and that whole thing will hinge up out the way then. It just saves you half a dozen extra connections to desolder. Before I just used to strip the whole lot off, but it is a bit quicker to do that. One good thing is it doesn't look like anyone's tried to work on this set before. I can't see any evidence of anyone being in here, which is really is good news. It means it hasn't been twiddled, because if people get in here and start twiddling these, never ever get a screwdriver in and think you can make it any better by touching these, because you'll ruin the set, and you'll definitely need a replacement module then without doubt. Right, so I'm just heating up my soldering iron, because to get the top plate off, you've got to desolder the headphone and the tape input, and you've also got to desolder the FM aerial socket. So let's get my tablet out of the way, because I don't want to be burning holes in my screen with the soldering iron. Yeah, if you've got any of the sets with the modules in, Paul, or really, if you want to knock them on without worrying about eBay fees and that, then drop me a line with what you got, Paul. I've got a few, yeah. I don't know if Rob's still on here, but Rob came in the other day. I gave him a quick tour of my radio collection. Well, part of it. Right. Let's get the soldering iron going. And we'll take the top panel off as well. Again, I like to take it all apart properly, so we'll whip the battery tray out. I can sit in the box with the rest of the bits. And the speaker, we don't want that knocking about on the bench. That's going to go out as well. Make sure we turn it back around. So these strips just lift off. Again, if you're repairing or restoring one of these, what I wouldn't recommend is sticking these in the water. I've done it before. And believe it or not, that is laminated. So you've got a piece of metal which has got plastic laminated on both sides of it. So you only need a little tiny bit of water to enter in between that laminate, and it creeps up in through here, makes it look terrible. You can't clean it. It just makes them look real horrible. So don't stick them in water. Just a damp cloth. That's all you need for those. So we've got to pull the knobs off, so just push fit. So it's nearly loose, but it's just held in by these wire connectors here. Again, it's worth taking a picture of it to know where you are. But I've got loads of pictures of these, so I don't need to take pictures. Just going to lift them out. But as usual, they've hooked them through. Sorry, I'm not looking at the chat at the moment, so apologies if anyone's leaving me messages. Let's get some forceps in. Let's get these wires out. Was they twisted the wires, that's the problem. I've got that one out. Let's put a new wire on there. There we go. That's that side free. Well, the pegs has moved, that's not an issue. So just onto this side. Sensor wire. Yeah, so I've just bent them all round. Come on, that's that one. And just the earth wire. Usually got to just get rid of some of the excess solder around the speaker aerial with a bit of braid. There we are. One front panel. Again, that's pretty good. I can't see any breakout on that at all. Nope, that's all good. The headphone socket's going to need to be pulled out to clean all that, because again, that's another failure point on these. That headphone socket goes open circuit and the radio is totally dead. So that will need to be done. And there we have the insides of it, with the dial cord, again in good condition. Big old glued in pointer. Right, let's get back to the chat. That's pretty much the radio stripped down as far as it's going to go today. Right. How much do these sell for, Kev? I mean, you can pick up, if you're lucky, you can get an half decent one on eBay for about 40 quid, if you're lucky. Say go for the later version with the little rectangular badge on it. There's nothing wrong with the earlier versions, the same electronics really. So one of those in good condition last week for a tenner. Yeah, it does depend on how lucky you are. If I see them for around about 10 to 20 quid, I normally pick them up if they're half decent, just to keep in for spares or for restoring for people. 700's a nice radio. Oh, afternoon, Andy. Just mentioned you earlier with that reference to veneering, actually. Let's get on some more beer. What have we got now? We've got there you go. It's from up where I live, Exmoor. North Devon beer coming up. Yeah, they're not. They are a bit of a pain, Mike, to sort those, but they do come out. Once you've done a few of them, they come out pretty easy. Yeah, it is, Sean. Like I say, it's not been worked on. Everything's there that should be there. Say it's going to need another aerial, but I have possibly got one that'll go in. Again, it's a restoration for a customer, so it'll go out as it came from the factory with everything original. There'd be no reproduction stuff going in it. So say another thing, if one of these radios isn't working, is these switch banks. You can see in the back you've got a hole in the back of each one. Squirt a switch cleaner down there, just work the switches, and that cleans them up pretty good. Yeah, the headphone socket that Mike's on about is this one here. They can be tricky to get out. I mean, I've got a bit of wire stuck in that one still, so I can quickly show you how to get them out. I don't know how close I am on the camera. I might just zoom in a little bit. It's a little bit far away there. Let's go down a little bit and zoom in. That should be all right. So yeah, what you've got on these basically is this tab here is squashed down to pinch into the plastic body, and that's all that stops them coming out. They basically push out through the front here. So what you've got to do first of all, you've got to lift that tab. Again, this ain't going to go right because I'm live, but you know, got to be tried, isn't it? So I tell you, if I can get one in there, I'll get a little tiny screwdriver in there. Sometimes they'll go, sometimes they won't, and this one's going to be kind to me, I think. Yeah, there we go. So you basically got to bend that tab up, Mike, like that. I'm going to have to get rid of this little bit of wire here because it won't come apart with that in it. You've also got to get rid of the excess solder on them because they won't push through if you don't. Again, I would recommend, if you're ever selling one of these radios, or if you ever want to keep one for yourself and you want it to work long term, I would take this out. You just got to basically get rid of a bit shaky hands today. Too much wine last night, I think. Yeah, just get rid of excess solder on these wires. Find they'll come out. So like I say, it actually pushes through like that. So you see it's just coming through there now. There you are. One headphone socket out, look, already. So to take them apart, the body is split down the middle. So you literally just got to split the body in half. And there's your contacts. I don't know how close you can see that. Can you see what I'm doing there? There we go. So that's the inside. So you can see that's pretty grubby. Look, there's a load of muck got in there. Sometimes you can be lucky with a bit of a squirt of air duster in the middle, will pop that out, and then a bit of switch cleaner, and you can probably get away with just working a plug in and out of it a few times to just move the contacts, and that'll sort it. But 9 times out of 10 you've got to pull it apart like that. And you need to actually physically pull these contacts out. You can't just do it in situ, so you've got to grab them and lift them out. There we are, and the last one. And you'll see that, I mean, that's a contact. It's not too bad actually, that. I've seen a lot worse. That's pretty good actually. So that one could probably have got away with just a bit of switch cleaner, but as I say, not worth taking the risk if you're selling the radio on. So I might as well do this one now it's apart. So I need my fiberglass pencil. So let's see if we've got any more comments. See, you've got a lot of beer bottles. Deoxit, yeah, Deoxit is worth it without a doubt. But, well, I say worth it. It's worth it if you do a lot of repairs. I think if you're just doing the occasional one for yourself, it ain't worth it. it's just too expensive. If you're doing a lot of repairs, then you can get away with it. So all I'm using is a fiberglass pencil, and I'm just going over the contact, just brightening it up. Hi Michael. This is Michael's radio, so there you go, Michael, this is your radio, mate. Glad that you could join us. I'm just doing your headphone socket as we speak, because this is one of the areas where they go wrong. And again, I like to just give that a little tweak outwards, just give it a little bend, just sort of like resets the spring in it, really. And this one, all that connects, I believe, if I can see rightly, is, yeah, all that makes a connection is that little edge there, so you need to give that a good old going over. In fact, that's pretty tarnished, that bit. Struggling to get all that off with the fiberglass pencil. There could be a bit of the plastic actually in that as well. There we go. Better. What? Looks like we've got some Chinese in the house. Who's this then? That's Andrew. Stop it. The picture's not upside down enough, is it? Well, hopefully you can see what I'm doing anyway. So I'm basically just cleaning up those contacts. This one doesn't really need a lot of cleaning. It's only the earth connection. I think that works with the plug-in all right. So that's that. This one will need a bit of a clean out. Just a cotton bud and some isopropyl on the inside bits. This is a quick live headphone socket repair or service. I don't know why I do these things live. Why do I do it? Luckily that one's not giving me any problems. Yeah, so make sure you get rid of any crud in there, because if you put it all back together and you don't clean this bit out, it's all going to go straight back in it again. So it's been isopropyled up. All right, can't understand the English, but understands what I'm doing. You can actually get these, Mike. You can still get these, and I think it's, if I remember rightly, it's Partridge Electronics. So if you Google Partridge Electronics, I think they're only like a couple quid each. So I keep meaning to buy some because they come with the metal surround as well. Right, I've got to try and remember now how to put this back together. I'm like, this could be embarrassing. Where's all my bits gone? I've lost a bit now. That. See, I've gone and lost a bit now, and there's me saying I shouldn't do it like that. I haven't. It's doing me forceps, that's why. So again, it's worth straightening all these bits out. They should be straight there, bent there. Give them a little bit of a tweak. That one goes in there. This is fiddly, but it is worth doing. That's not quite lined up. There we go. Pop that back on. There we are, all done. Just to finish it off, you just need a squirt of deoxit or whatever you use. Super 10 if you use Servasol. Just a quick squirt of that in there. That's it. Job done. So that didn't take long, did it really? Fixing it's just exactly the same as taking it out. Just push it back in. And squeeze that tab back over. There you go. You don't really need to do the tape one because that's an output, not an input. It doesn't really affect anything. So all I tend to do with those is I'll just give them a squirt of air. A little bit of deoxit. So there we go. One headphone socket serviced. So there was one other thing I was going to show you, but I'll get that out in a minute. Just have a quick chat first with anyone that wants to have a chat. Keep that speaker safe. Stick the chassis in there. That's that one out of the way. So your radio is now destroyed, Michael. Right. Okay. Afternoon, Andrew. How are you? So someone's repairing a Grundig Music Boy 209. Grundig's a lovely set, but God, they're a pig to work on. They really are. They can be overly complex. Just sort of tidy my bench up a little bit. So, hi Doug, how are you, mate? Back on the bench yet? Just a 1 week away. I mean, I quite enjoy doing these feeds, really. I mean, as long as I get a lot of, as long as I get some good feedback on it, I'll carry on doing them if it's something that people like. Very often we're twiddling our fingers with stuff to do on a Sunday, aren't we? Sunday's a day off for most people, not all, obviously, but a lot of people don't work on a Sunday, so I thought it was probably the best day to do it, really. I could do midweek feeds, but I don't think they'll be as well, what do you call it? There won't be as many people that will be able to watch them midweek. I try not to work of an evening if I can help it. The blue paper I use, I mean, this, to be fair, this is pretty rubbish. I usually buy these in bulk. This is just 2-ply. In fact, this is 1-ply, is it? Or is it 2-ply? It's just blue roll. I buy them from Amazon in packs of 6. Again, it don't cost a lot, but you do get through a lot of them. The European old radio has been popular in China. So if you're in China, great stuff. But, you'd like to see a shop gear tour one day, Jack, would you? Well, I say Rob came in the other week when he brought me that big Ferranti radio. I don't know if you were here when I put that one up, Jack, but one of the guys that lives fairly local to me has brought me in a big old Ferranti radio. I can't remember if you actually saw that one, Jack. I think you joined when I had the Hacker on the bench. Yeah, so I think all of these old radios, you say they're popular in China. I think a lot of people would like to get their hands on. A lot of people down in Australia and over in the States are quite partial to some of these old vintage British radios. I think it was it Doug, or I think it was Doug was saying that it might have been Doug, or it might have been Bill actually, was saying that a lot of the radios were made in Japan for the States. They went fairly quick over to Japan for all their radios, but the British kept manufacturing them for quite some time before they sort of succumbed to the overseas people. Yeah, you did miss it. It's covered under the stairs. You would be absolutely amazed at how much stuff I've managed to cram in this little room. That nobody that sees it can believe that I actually filmed from here. I've got a fly in here now. Trying to get on my beer. I can't have that. Yeah, this is it, Jack. God dear. That one, Jack. That's what I showed earlier, Jack, that you missed out on. It's a big old Ferranti Volve radio. Massive great one that one of my viewers brought me in. Big old beastlet. But, we can zoom back out a bit now for a general sort of chit chat before I call it a day. Am I zoomed right out there? I don't know, I can never do it properly with this phone thing, really. Right, let's get that one down out the way. It's a monster. A big beast of a radio. Hopefully, yeah, say that sensitivity of modern medium wave design in European radio is not high. Yeah, probably you're right. I know certainly some of the sets from Sony and that had extra RF stages in them. The Selena, the Russian Selena, has got an amazing RF stage on medium wave, long wave. Performs better than probably all of our radios over here, really. Quick look in the back, please. I'm not going to take it apart again, Jeff. You'll need to, if you look at the stream later on, Jeff, if you rewind and go back through, I did an overview of the insides of it earlier, because it's got a screwed on back panel and it's a bit of a monster up on the desk. I'm surprised it didn't collapse the desk, actually, because this is just like a commercial fold up plastic table. This is not really designed to have a lot of weight on it. Yeah, Paul, I'd definitely take on the Selena if you don't want it. I've got a couple of those that need bits, and I keep them for bits anyway for other people. Sean's had a couple bits from me to get his working again. So yeah, definitely keep hold of that one. So how are we doing on time? I don't know. I've lost my clock. I can hear it going somewhere. What are we doing? Oh god, is it 4:45? No way. No, it's 3:20. Yeah, I have got a little Selena project I've been doing, Paul. Sean knows because I sort of dragged him along with me on Facebook. I don't know if I've got it to hand, actually. I might have. Bear with me, I'll just go and grab it a sec. There, one Selena. Let's see if I can get you down on that a bit better so I can show you what I've been up to with it. I think people probably watch Jim. Is he Lindinus or Lindus? I'm not sure now. Let's get you on that area. That's about right. Okay. So one of the main issues with these radios when you buy them is they haven't got the mains lead with them. I don't know if you've seen the correct mains lead input, but I've designed this piece, which is a replica of the old input panel, which sits in behind the back panel. And I've put a normal mains cable in there, a cable clamp, and then in the back I've got the radio. Now this is the original one, look, so it's pretty much a copy of it. So it's a 3-pin, almost like a 3-pin DIN plug, the original mains input for one of these. And this is a Selena Vega 215. This is just a spare set that I've been playing with this particular project on. So what I've done, I've used the original jack plug, which is, I don't know what size it is, but you can't plug nothing into that because it's not the size that we use over here. It's smaller than our, is it 3/8 plug? It's smaller than that. The 5-pin DIN, I've put a brand new 5-pin DIN in it, ready for wiring up. And it all matches up exactly the same centers, and it's even got the holes to bend it down through. Now I've got to work out a way of connecting the wires on. I haven't done that yet, but I'm probably going to work out some way of putting a chocolate block connector in there and then linking up to the transformer, which is in the back here. So I've 3D printed quite a few of these. But what I can't do really is sell it, because it's obviously mains and it's not type approved as such. Although it's a damn sight safer than the original one, it's still not approved. So I can do it for myself on my own radios, but I can probably sell people the bits to do it, but I can't physically do it, I don't think. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know the legalities of it. Jim drives you mad. Gary, you've had one message retracted, mate. So I don't know what you said there, but YouTube has obviously decided it's not for our ears, so you'll have to reword it. The clock is the Bush Nightingale, Sean. Actually, yeah. But, for some reason, it's not showing. It's running fast, Sean. It's running fast. It's actually showing. It's showing that it's just coming up to 20 to 4, but it's not. It's 23 minutes past, so I'll have to wind it back a bit. There we go. That's better. Sean very kindly gave me that one. That's why he knows about it. Yeah, no worries, Paul. Yes, I mean this is engineered to hell. This is, I mean, you've got your RF boards up here. I mean, this one's got broken ferrite and all sorts on it. Look. So you've got your RF boards up here. Then this is your IF board here. You've got FM. Your FM RF is down here because it's blank on these boards, and your amplifier board's in here. And tucked in behind, in through there, is your transformer. So, yeah, they are very nice radios. This one is just a spares radio, so I've just been using it to experiment with this input, actually, which, you know, I think that's perfect, and I should be doing that on all of my Selenas. I've got about 3 of them here. It's a cracking shortwave radio. Very hard to beat on shortwave, unless you've got a proper dedicated radio. All right, okay. Yeah, the original leads are rare, but they are pretty wobbly, Sean. They're not very well made. Let's go back out to full screen again. They're not very well made, really. Yeah, this is a B215. B216 and B217 are pretty much identical radios, except they've got different FM bands on them for different markets, really. Yeah, they really are well made, Andrew, aren't they? I know you've done a lot of work on them. In fact, I sent you a message on the Vintage Radio Forum, Andy, about you've got a nice original service sheet for them, haven't you? Which I wouldn't mind a copy of that, original schematic. I think we did exchange schematics earlier, a while back when you were working on one, I think, didn't we? You sent me some info. I think I sent some on to Simon. He was working on one as well. Gary, unfortunately, knobs, the only way you can get knobs, mate, is to buy a scrap set and pinch him off. I mean, this has had all the knobs bar one pinched off of it. I've got one knob left, and that one is destined for another radio. Sean had the tuning meter out of it. Sean had that one. Must have used the AFC button for another one. Yeah, Jim's channel is enjoyable to watch, but it's a bit. You end up shouting at the screen quite a lot, I find. Telling it what to do, and you can't hear it. Right. Yeah, the turret tuner. It's huge. Yeah, I know it, Andrew. It's like I've got some Dynatron ones over there, and I got a mate with a A3 scanner, and he scanned it God knows how many times, and I just had to stitch it all together in Photoshop. But yeah. Yeah, the turret tuner is an issue with these. If you've got one of these, all these connections here. What you mustn't forget though, if you are restoring one of these, is although you can clean these, you mustn't forget this. This is the corresponding pins that feed into the board. You need to take the two end screws out, angle that down, and clean all these individually as well. You can't just clean these. You've got to do this set as well. I had one in for repair recently that he'd gone through and he'd done them all. They were lovely and shiny, but still wasn't working on some of the bands because he hadn't taken this off and cleaned it. So I've got another video of one of these being totally restored. I've done the B210, I've done a restoration video on that. Pretty much the same circuitry in the B10. It's just the amplifier's slightly different, and the mains, like the rectifier and that, is on a separate board in the B210, where it's all incorporated into this board on this one. But yeah, an interesting radio. Very, very difficult to work on. Well, not difficult. They're very tricky to fault find on this. I'll say that much. They do come apart very easily. You unsubbed from him, Jack, did you? I know what you're saying, mate. He does take his time, but that's Jim, isn't it? That's his style. And you know, sometimes I get hooked into it, and I've got to watch the next one, and I've got to watch the next one, and I've got to watch the next one, and sometimes I go about 10 minutes through, and I've got to turn it off and forget about it for a while. Yeah, they don't come apart easy if you're Jim. No. You did struggle with that one, but then if you haven't done one before, then you should have sent him to one of my videos. He could have sorted it out from there. Zenith said 7,000. I don't know if Bill's still on here, but he's a Zenith man. He put you straight on that, I'm sure. Battery maker. Yeah, he is. I don't try to restring one of these, Bill, you're saying, or the Zenith. This one's pretty much at it, I think. It's only a parts radio, as I said, but yeah. Can you help out with the Zenith 7000 there, Bill? He's got FM is good, AM and shortwave's very low. I assume you mean low volume or low sensitivity, Gary? I'm not familiar with the TR220, Paul. Tamberg is good stuff though, isn't it? It's very well made. Dial strings are a nightmare. I mean, some of them, like the Hacker and the Roberts, to be fair, are pretty good. I got somebody sending me in an R800 this week coming that needs restringing. I've got an R800 sat up there somewhere, but they're a bit tricky. Yeah. Well, Gary's got problems, Bill, with I think it's his sensitivity or volume on the Zenith D7000/1. That's the transoceanic, is it? Not sure. Yeah, I've had some dial string jobs here that have, like, well, that's why I got grey hair, I think, because of dial strings. Oh, you gotta go mow the yard. All right, Bill. Thanks for dropping in again, mate. Oh, that was you, Mike. Was it with the R800? That's right, yeah. Yeah. I forget who's who here half the time. Because people's names on here are different from their names on Facebook, and it just gets confusing, doesn't it? But yeah, cheers, Mike. I will look forward to that one coming. I think, is that one up there, the R800? Yeah, I've got an R8. Is that an R800? I've got an R800 in bits here. It's in a pretty sorry state because that's a Roberts R800. You see it was a wireless for the blind radio. You still see the leftovers of the right in there. But I had a problem with the top cover here. Had a big burn in it. So I've stripped it off. I've got to fill the wood and then I've got to recover it. The problem is the Rexine I've got to recover it is a different colour. So basically I've got to recover the whole thing, including the back. So again, it's one of those radios that's been like this for a few years now, awaiting some new Rexine. But that's one of the jobs I've got to do. But that's the other radio I've got, Mike, that we can look at the dial stringing in underneath. And any other bits, like you said, I think that you said the ferrite is gone. The dial string comes down around this wheel from at the top, and all the wires are on the ferrite, so I should be able to sort that on when it comes in. But yeah, again, not Robert's best ever offering, to be fair. Sean, I think, has got one, and they've got a plastic speaker in them, which isn't the best. But you know, if you collect them, you've got to have it, haven't you? It's a bit like that Hacker Windsor, really. That's not their best offering by a long shot, but it still is a Hacker. It's like collecting anything, isn't it? If you collect stamps, you've got to have them all. Yeah, case is all right, Mike. It's just the Rexine has had it on it, really. I don't think he is on, Sean, actually. John Marty, I think it was, Sean. It was John Marty was the guy that wanted the front grille for the DAC 90. Well, I don't know if it was a DAC 90 or 90A, Sean, because they're totally different, aren't they? Well, there you go, Gary. Bill's saying wiggle the transistors. I take it they're in sockets, Bill, aren't they? Then recap it and then work from there on. I've got a Grundig actually that I think has dodgy sockets on it, but I want to actually take the sockets out and wire the transistor directly to the board. What are you saying there, Paul? It's thoroughly apologetic. What, the Tandberg? It's flying here at the moment. Oh, all right. Well, that might be a godsend then, Mike. It will save me recovering that one. But then saying that, it's probably easy enough. 90-volt battery pack. Bill's probably the man to speak to on battery packs, but I think he's gone. He certainly was going. Oh, yeah, it is a bit apologetic, isn't it, that one, Paul? It's seen better days, but then I could keep it like it was because it literally, someone, I don't know how they burnt the bloody thing, but it was certainly burnt. 90-volt battery pack. Really, Sean, it's just a case of strapping a load of PP3s together, isn't it, really? Strap 10 PP3s or 9 PP3s together and you got your 90 volts. And I've got 90-volt batteries here, but how they get 90 volts into these things, I don't know. Is that 90 volt? Yeah, there's a 90-volt battery there, that, for sure. It's a proper old Ever Ready, I don't know if you can see that. How do they get 90 volts into that? You can do it. I think if you eye up a load of PP3s, see that they're bigger, so I don't know how you do it really. Possibly that way you'd have to do it, wouldn't you? So you could probably build one up like that, Sean, couldn't you? I don't know whether you would squeeze 5 in. You probably would just squeeze 5 in, that. So you'd have to make up, you'd probably have to make up a board to go in the middle with the battery snaps either side and connect them up like that somehow. I don't know if you could see that actually when I was down there. Basically, that would probably, you just about get 5 PP3s. I haven't got another one here, have I, to hand? Another PP3? No. Yeah, so you probably just about get 2 banks in of 5. Right, well, I think we're coming to our sort of natural ending now. I've not got a lot more to do. Oh, I was going to show you just one more thing that I picked up in the week. It'll interest people that got their workbenches at home. Let's just get that one back out of the way. Just tripped over my wire. So we don't have trailing wires going across the floor. Actually, there's 2 more things. This was the first thing, so now I picked these up at the local German supermarket the other day. small parts organizer, but this one's got like a row of smaller trays down the middle. It's got a big drawer at the bottom, and these like bins on the side, so that's really useful for stuff like variable caps, tuning caps, that sort of thing. $5.99 that was, so I grabbed that quick. And then right beside it, for the same price, was that one. So I grabbed that as well. I mean, it's plastic, it's not metal, but end of the day, it's only for storing like quite lightweight components in, so they're not going to take any weight. But I thought they were a bargain, really, especially that one's quite unique. I've not seen one like that before. Years ago when I had a van, I used to keep screws and all sorts in these. Really useful. Yeah, I thought I'd share that with you. So your local German supermarket may have some left. I bought these last probably Thursday. I think it was last Thursday, might have been earlier than that, but they were in there then. I don't think they got any in when I went in yesterday. And there was just one last radio that I was going to show you. If you remember the R707 I showed you just now, well, what about that for an R707 then? It was Liddell. Liddell it was. Cheers, Jack. You off, mate? I'll catch you later. I'm nearly finished. I'm nearly done. Now this is another R707 Roberts, but I've never seen one like it because it's got the striped grille on it. I've never ever seen one with a striped grille. They've always been the mesh grille, and this is a later one with a coarser leather cloth on it. So it must have literally been one of the last production ones. I know I've got quite a few British in at the moment. I just wonder if anyone else has seen one of these, because I've never seen one like it. It definitely is genuine. It's got the proper cutouts for everything, so it wouldn't fit any other radio. It has got to be a genuine R707. Serial number on it 78,395. You bear in mind the other one that I was just looking at was 56,000, so it's like 22,000 more down the line. I mean, it certainly doesn't look like anyone's had the grill off. It all looks factory. So that one I will be restoring at some stage for myself to keep. Say, if anyone's ever seen one with the striped grill on it, I'd be interested to know if anyone's got one. It's certainly a little bit unique. So it's like the same as the other one in all other ways. It's just the fact it's got that striped grille on it, and it's got the later Rexine on it, which I quite like, the coarse grain Rexine. But I'm not going to power that one up because it's been stored damp. The other thing, the only other thing different is these pieces. This is actually metal, where the other ones are plastic coated metal. This is actually proper aluminium extrusions on the top and bottom, which again I've never seen before on these. They've usually got the plastic bits on the side like this one had. Right, let's have a quick look at the chat. You need to talk to me about this 707, do you? I'm not going to fire it up, Hera, because as I say, I want to make sure that everything's okay with it first. I don't want to risk blowing the outputs on it or anything. But it has got the later output transistors on it, which you probably can't see it there. But they're actually the K version. By that I mean they've got a built-in. They're like this. These are AC128K, so they've got the heatsink built into the actual transistor. You see that? So they've got these type of transistors rather than the old cylindrical ones. So you can tell if you look at one, the age of the radio by the transistors in it. So you've got ones with square ones like that, you knew it's one of the newer versions. That's low volume, is it, Gary? Low volume is 99% capacitors, I would think, in the AM IF circuit. You want first refusal on this one, Sean, do you? Yeah, I won't be getting rid of this one, but you know, it's a bit unique, isn't it? It needs some work doing, but I could pretty much bring that one back to brand new. But it is unusual to have that grill. It's got a bit of corrosion coming through the grill, but I think I can clean that up. Right, well, my good lady is going to be wondering where the hell I've got to, so so you're using 4 LR44s, Rob. That's interesting. That's is that lithiums, Rob? 12 volts from the AA size. Okay. Oh, there you go, Sean. So if you look at Rob's post there, Sean, he's using a 4 LR44. So you get 12 volts from an AA size, so you use a multi-holder. So to get 90, you'd need a what's that? You'd need an 8-cell holder, would just about get you there, wouldn't it? 80, 96 volts. Yeah, it'd be a bit more, a bit too much, really. Okay, so thanks to everybody for joining me today. It's been great with a chat again. Always interesting to have a chat along with everybody, because it helps with content, really, doesn't it? I don't really have much of a plan. I got certain things I want to show you, but it's not scripted in any way. So anybody wants to jump in and see something different, or wants to talk about something off subject, you can do. You know, it's not set in stone by any means. So that's pretty much it. Cheers, Mike. Cheers, Mark. Thanks everybody for joining me. Cheers, Theo. Hopefully it's been of use to people. I will sort of let you know what the progress is on the R707. It's probably not got a lot going to happen next week on it, but now I've got it apart, I'll probably take the module out and swap that for a refurb module. I've got the Shorrock, still got to work out how to fix that blimmin' dial plate on the front, and I've got the ITT International Touring to do. That is doing some strange stuff on FM. It's a strange radio, so plenty more to come next week, I'm sure. So thanks everybody for watching, and keep on repairing them radios. Keep watching. Speak to you again soon. Cheers for now.